Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me in the locker room today. I'm Ellen Locher, and I couldn't be more excited about our special guest that we have here with me today. Steve Grand, one of my favorite artists, who shot to fame when he released his song and accompanying video, All American Boy, in 2013, is here to talk about his music career and his brand new underwear and swimwear line, GrandAxis. Please welcome to the locker room, Steve Grand.
Hello, everybody.
Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks so much for inviting me on. I know we've been trying to do this for a minute here, so I'm glad it worked.
We have, but that's okay. That's quite all right. We both have a little extra time on our hands. Steve Grand,
wait, something's going wrong.
Are you hearing it?
I'm hearing your intro all over again.
Oh, that's weird.
Oh shit! I probably have YouTube open. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you do.
I can't hear anything. Like, oh shit! I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm new. I've never used this program before.
Yeah, just close the other program.
Yeah. Wow, that would really have driven me crazy. Okay, beautiful. Okay, thank God.
Sorry about that. Trust me.
Great start.
Doing things on the internet, you learn a lot. You learn a lot. Very
baptism by fire.
Baptism, exactly. Well, this year is a big year for you. You turned 30. Is it off to a pretty good start?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, the virus kind of thrown everything off, and I didn't realize how much it really did affect me, like not being able to go to the gym, not having the routine of doing my shows twice a week in Mexico like I was doing. So I thought I would be fine with it because I was like, oh, I'm an introvert. I don't really need to see people, but it just made me appreciate the routine and that sense of like stability that comes from routine. So other than that, like I've been doing really well these last couple of weeks. I'm in Chicago now. It's so beautiful here. I'm renting this apartment from a friend and kind of getting a deal because I couldn't afford it otherwise. And it's just beautiful. So I'm just trying to soak it in. I was running by the beach yesterday. I was wearing my mask.
I saw the picture. Head to toe black you were wearing.
Yeah, I was. Someone said you look like you're ninja or something. I was like, that's it.
Yeah, exactly. How much was your Puerto Vallarta show cut short by? When would you have been there?
My last day was supposed to be April 9th.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah. And you returned sometime in March?
Yeah, sometime in the middle of March. It was like I kept seeing every day on Twitter, like I was like, wow, the world is kind of freaking out, but like you couldn't tell in Puerto Vallarta. Everyone was still doing their thing. And there was a weekend where it really changed because I remember it was the weekend. My friends were in town, so I wasn't even like paying attention to social media. And that was finally like the weekend where like Trump had finally taken it seriously and like addressed it. And so like there was total tonal shift. And so I posted a picture of me like laying in a cabana with a bunch of guys, and I got so much hate. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're taking this seriously now.
Yeah, I returned from there on March 2nd, and you wouldn't have known anything was going on.
Yeah,
you know,
it really changed. A couple days, it changed so quick.
Huh. Well, let's go back because it's how many years now? 8 years since you released. 7 years. July 2nd. All American Boy, and talk about that. You uploaded it on the 2nd. 8 days later, you had 1 million views. What was that, experience like?
Yeah, well, I mean, I never know how much detail to go into this story, but I've been playing music forever. It's been my dream to be a singer-songwriter. I was in school for it for a little bit. I didn't feel like I felt overwhelmed by all the talent. I was at Belmont University in Nashville for a year. So I wasn't sure if I was really going to pursue it, but I felt like I wouldn't ever forgive myself if I didn't. So I dropped out of school, started playing at bars, and I would play at bars at night and then like wake up early in the morning and do church. And play at church. That was actually where I made most of my money, in the Catholic Church. So the Catholic Church funded my music video about two men falling in love, which is wonderful.
That's the perfect sentiment right there.
Yeah. So I decided, I was like, listen, I just turned 23. I was like, that's, people usually really start making their mark in music like late teens, early 20s. Like you really gotta have that, I thought. So I was like, all right, I just need to take something I've written and recorded. And I wrote All American Boy the summer before at my friend's house when we were just kind of, passing around a bottle of Jack Daniels around the fire. We came in and we're just jamming on the piano, and I wrote the song then. And, the song's about unrequited love between two men, kind of country tinged ballad. And then I hired a very modest film crew, maxed out my credit card for the first time ever. I didn't have a label or a manager or anything. I completely funded it myself and threw it up on YouTube as early as I could possibly get it on. July 2nd, 2013. And then it just took off totally organically. I didn't have a marketing budget or anything, but it really got, it was, I'm very proud of the video and the storytelling. I still think it's probably like one of the best things I've ever done. Like, I'm so proud of it. But it was also the time we were in, before marriage equality was legalized, after Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed, though. So it's kind of in that window. This was when BuzzFeed was like raging on the internet and just like down everyone's throat. It was like BuzzFeed and Upworthy, and they picked it up and called me the first openly gay country singer. And I was like, well, that's not really true. I'm not making that claim, but that, of course, it was enough headline that got everywhere. So, but
the video was beautiful. I mean, you talk about a cheaper crew. It was, no matter what, it's a gorgeous, lush video.
Yeah, and that's honestly something I've come to appreciate. Like, it's so easy in the beginning of these kind of things to think that, oh, this was like, I've been working on this my whole life. No one ever really thought I could do it. And now finally, like, I'm proving them wrong. And you start to think that it's all your own genius. But of course, I've always appreciated the people that have worked with me. But it's really only like this last year for me has been a year of like really just appreciating the random, miraculous, like just accident of nature, that beautiful things come into existence. And everything from nature around us to advances in technology, and to like artists like me, and to all the way down to my little music video. I had a lot of great people with me, and the stars just kind of aligned, and something, it was in the air, in the universe, and it all came together beautifully.
But the other, I don't know if you look at it as important. I do, having grown up at a different time than you, being gay and not having role models. I mean, coming out that way in such a powerful music video, you must have had such an incredible reaction from other young gay kids seeing you for the first time in that light. And you must have heard from a lot of them too, from that moment on.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially early on, I did. And, and honestly, I heard from people of all ages. And honestly, probably you say younger people, but honestly, I think it's something that's like the people that have really stuck around and stuck with me and have been like my biggest, most vocal supporters are probably people that are like middle-aged and older. And I think that I've noticed that it had an especially profound impact on those folks, because like you said, you grow up thinking this is never really going to be a thing. And now you have this artist that's, being plastered all over the news and the internet, that people are celebrating for this love story, this story of unrequited love that we've all experienced and know so well as LGBT people.
It's true. And, it's the reason I am proud to say I'm in your liner notes, because, of the first album. Because,
thank you so much. I saw that. Yeah. And that was a generous donation to get there. I think it was like $150. So I appreciate it.
It was something like, you're welcome. But it's an important step that, like you said, it was before marriage equality. I mean, talking about even like Glee, the television series, for me, I watched it from beginning to end because there weren't shows like that for young kids who could see somebody like you doing something with their life in a positive way. You dreamed of playing music and you set out to do it and you did it.
Totally.
And for anyone to see, it's an incredible thing. But the media attention must have been hard as well at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I've been over this stuff a lot, and it's like you know, as time goes on, I always like kind of changing the way I look back on that. I try not to look back too much because you don't want to get like stuck back there. But of course, I'm always going to be asked about it. So it's funny. I feel like I did an interview yesterday as well. And I was like, well, this feels like a therapy session almost, because it's like I have all these things that I've been through that I've talked about sometimes, but I don't like, I kind of push it out of my mind. And so then it's when I do these interviews that I really like think about it and consider it. And so, yeah, the media attention, that was like amazing, and it was overwhelming, and it was difficult. And as someone who, like all of us, I was a young 23-year-old. I still had, we all are on a journey, no matter how old you are. But especially at that young, I was still like really trying to figure myself out. I was still very insecure in a lot of ways. You know, I still am. And it's like, you feel like you're like walking around with open wounds, and then like the media attention is like the salt being thrown in those wounds, kind of, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like it's I think important to talk about this in a nuanced way, because it's the reality in our world that people are going to get all sorts of crap on the internet, and not just crap, but sometimes really good, valuable criticism. Like I try to take in criticism, and consider it. Sometimes it's hard to separate like genuine criticism from people that are really just being nasty. And so you have to protect yourself on some level, but also you have to be open-minded. It's a very difficult line to walk, and I constantly fall off one way or the other. But I always try to get back on that balance beam and keep going.
Well, you have to remember that people are not, they're always hiding behind the computer, not necessarily being genuine. So
and, take it, just like you and I, who are like upset about something, and when you're upset, it's so human to like want to like lash out on something. So it's like sometimes I try not to respond, but in the beginning, of course, I've made fall on my face trying to respond or stick up for myself or something, because I'm getting I get defensive. But it's been, especially over the last couple of years, it's like me trying to have compassion for myself and also have compassion for other people. That like these people, if someone's lashing out at you, they're not a happy person, and they're dealing with their own struggles just like me, and it just I have ways that I sometimes lash out too. Maybe it's not in that way, maybe it's to myself, but I could definitely understand and appreciate and have compassion for people that have that kind of anger, because we all do. It's human.
Correct. And we all need to have a little more compassion, I think, these days. Just some of the fans. Hello from London. Pete says hello from London. He loves your music.
Hello, Pete from London.
And it's a shame your underwear isn't available yet in the UK.
It is though.
Oh, okay, good, Pete. It is available, and I'll put
available
up the shop
worldwide. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to bring down shipping costs, because the shipping costs are a lot now. I need to like do more research on that. But yeah, it's GrandAxis is everywhere, including right here.
Oh, that's awesome.
And you know what? It could work. These are CDC guidelines. It works as a mask.
As a mask. Oh my God, that's great.
You could go running like this. Look,
Johnny says he has your name tattooed on his arm too. So I don't know if you heard that. Johnny has your name tattooed on his arm.
Oh, I know Johnny. Yeah. Hey, Johnny. Yeah.
So
how are you doing? Obviously, there's not a lot of people with their name tattooed on their. But no, I know Johnny's come to so many shows.
That's awesome.
Positive, it's the Johnny I'm thinking of.
Good.
He's come to so many shows.
So, who or what inspired you? To sing, play guitar, play piano.
I grew up listening to a lot of classic rock with my dad when I was like 10, 11, 12, and then I got into like the whole emo pop punk phase when I was like started going to high school, and I would like start bands, and I would like take it really seriously, and I would be like, guys, we got to practice. And like, I would get like so like upset, and like then the kids would like taunt me in school and be like, I'm going to quit the band. I'd be like, fine.
And the band did what type of music?
Well, it was like pop punk, a lot of it. Okay. That was like the big sound. Like Blink-182 was big, and I was like My Chemical Romance, The Used, Taking Back Sunday. Like these were my like this was my like where I was at then. But I should also say I started piano when I was 5 because I saw Charlie Brown. I tell the story at all my shows. I saw Charlie Brown with the Schroeder play the piano, and I thought that was cool. So thankfully my parents took notice and got us this old upright piano, and we all started taking lessons then.
You know, I love what I read about your dad, how the lasting power of music, how he taught you about the lasting power of music.
Yeah, that's always something that's really stuck with me, that you know, he always has like wanted to share his life with us. His dad wasn't always there for him, so I think it was like always really important for him to really want to connect with us. And you know, he probably goes overboard a lot, but I always would notice that music was a way that a song would come on the radio, and it would just take him back to a time and place. And you know, he's an artist too. He's a painter, and just like it would kind of like paint in my mind an image, and I was like, I want to be able to create something that lasting, that associated with memory, and maybe not even memory, but like create a time and a place in your own mind, that like a drug that you could, you know, really like escape to. And that's what music is. I mean, music does have an effect of,
and it brings you back to a place and time so often.
Yeah.
You hear something, you know, on a television program, on, you know, on the radio, it brings you back to that moment in time for yourself.
Absolutely.
It's really pretty great. So going back to All American Boy and the Kickstarter, not because I know you've talked about it a lot, but was that what made you, did somebody suggest doing the Kickstarter? And then when you saw the response, you know, at 23, 24, it must have been, you know, so beautiful to see the support.
Yeah. So I'd seen Amanda Palmer. She did a TED Talk about, and I used to make my family watch this and my friends, and I'd be like, this is the future, because she actually went on Kickstarter and she raised over $1 million for her album. And I can't remember, it's something like I don't know if it's like the art of asking, or I'm going to totally butcher it. I feel like I'm combining Trump
something. The art of the deal.
Yeah, but like the art of, like, she was talked about how like people want to support something that they believe in. Like, you don't need to be dependent on like the label and the power structures and getting on radio. Like, you could, with the internet, we could find our audience now. And I was always making this case to people when people would be like, don't pigeon yourself as like a gay artist. I was like, well, it doesn't, like, I really believe, I was like, well, it doesn't matter. Like, people that like it will like it, and people who don't, don't. I don't need to like sit down in some like board meeting with record executives and have them tell me how to make a song appealing enough to be on radio and blah, blah, blah. I mean, that would be great. And maybe I should have done that, but.
Well, I mean, you had almost 5,000 donors, you know, and each person did it for their own reason, did it because they wanted to support someone like yourself who was striking out. And, you know, and like you said, probably people my age who could have never imagined doing that right out of the gate as a gay human being, male, female, whatever you are, trans, you know, any of that. And so,
and honestly, it was, I was saying how Amanda Palmer inspired me. Sorry, I go on tangents, guys. Anyone who's followed me knows that. But I mean, it was such an emotional thing because I had set my goal for like $60,000. I had no concept of money before that. I mean, I do kind of put it at our education system. They teach us so many things, but like not really understanding money and finance and things like that. And also, I was making $10 an hour I was like a bar back before that. And then I'd make like $100 for playing 2 hours of live music, which I can't believe this place got away with. Because they would like advertise as like, oh, piano bar, he takes requests, you know. And so I was getting like, you know, harassed and my ass grabbed by bachelorette parties who wanted me to play usher, you know, for 2 hours, and I walk away with $100 and haul my keyboard away and all that. But anyways, so I had like you don't really have an understanding of money when you're just like kind of just barely like, you know, paycheck to paycheck getting by. And I did have a good support system too. Like, my family is always there for me. I know I always have a place with them. But I just had no idea what things cost. And so I asked for $60,000, made that in 24 hours. It was just like unbelievable. Like I cry. I don't cry often. Like, I cry. It was emotional that, like, because it was like, yeah, people believed in this, like people, and that's how people were showing. And so I ended up raising over like $300,000. And it was just like, yeah, it was, I mean, it was just, it was wild. And I felt so much pressure too. Like there's a whole, like, I wonder if anyone's ever like gone into that, like made videos about like the psychology of, I know that people do it with like the lotto, and there's that whole thing where people like lose all the money that they like get in a lotto. Like most of them end up bankrupt, but like the psychology of like having, you know, it might have well been $1 billion to me, right? Like that's such an incomprehensible amount of money.
But when but when you set a goal of 60 and it, you know, is 3 times that.
Yeah. And then of course, like, because I don't know how to manage money, you know, like you make a lot of mistakes with it. And I think that year, like I spent even more on that than that record, which I cannot believe still. But yeah, it was like, and then I was like needing to like make up all these. Yeah, it was stressful, but more so, I just want to drive the point home that I'm so thankful to everyone that contributed and that made that possible. Like that will stay with me forever.
Oh, you work hard at your audience too. You do say thank you. You're always, you know, generous with your time when you meet people. You know, I've seen you do it, you know, at shows and different things.
I do. I'm not perfect at it. You know, once in a while there's, but it seems like always the people that like the one time where I'm like really just, you know, I'm really stressed out. I had it like something really bad happen, like, and you know, someone will want to like talk, and I'm just like, like I just can't, you know. And then it's like they're the ones that will like talk about it on Twitter forever.
but you're human. We're all human. We all make those, you know, mistakes. David said, was it The Art of Persuasion? Do you think?
We could look that up, right?
Yeah, I'll look. But it's a TED Talk that Amanda Palmer did.
Yeah, it might have been The Art of Persuasion. I feel like it was more because she was talking about how like
there's probably only one TED Talk that she did.
I would imagine so. Yeah. But it really stuck with me. And I don't think I've talked about her too much, but yeah, she was a huge inspiration of mine. She talks about,
I don't recall. I'm going to watch that. I'm going to look that up.
Yeah.
After.
She pretty much just talked about like it's okay to like stand on a box and ask for money, you know?
Okay. Well, right now, a lot of people probably are doing that. Sadly, we need that.
Buy my underwear, like buy a cameo, get a video.
But you're working hard at that, though. I mean, you're creating. We'll get to that closing. But what's your process as a songwriter? What comes first? Is it lyrics, music?
For the songs that like I end up actually writing, because I'm constantly like, I've only written like a fraction of a percent of the songs that have like come to me, that have like where I get a lyric or a melody or like a chorus. There's so many like bits and pieces of songs that never really get realized, but the ones that do most likely are ones where the melody and the lyrics come at the same time for me. And it's like, I just like sing into my phone, like a voice memo or something. That's how I notice I have a lot of luck. And then usually I have to like finish writing it as quickly as possible. Like you have to strike when the iron's hot. When you get that bolt of lightning, like you gotta like bottle it up.
Huh. What are some of your favorites that you've recorded?
Time is one of my all-time favorite songs that I've done, that I'm really so proud of. And it's a song that like didn't get a super lot of attention. I mean, it does have 1 million views on YouTube, which is pretty good. But
that's pretty good.
And so I always get excited when like it's not a song that people like often like ask me to play. Like the few times I get like heckled and people shout for a song, it's not usually that one. But I always get so excited when like I know someone wants to hear that. Like I just did actually a cameo right before we got on. That's why I was a little late. The guy wanted me to play a little bit of Time, so I set up my keyboard and did that.
And why does that one stand out for you?
Because I struggle to even say exactly what it's about, but I feel like it captures a feeling that can't really be distilled in like, oh, this song is about like All American Boy, about unrequited love between two men. Like I can't really distill what that song's about, but it captures a feeling in me at least, and I hope that it also captures that feeling for others.
Interesting. I'm gonna go back and listen again after.
Yeah. I'll just say a little more on that. Like, it's about, it's really like a coming of age song. I start by saying 22, I was made for you. It's about young love, and it's about just feeling like you kind of have all the time in the world, but you're getting to that point in life where you realize, like, oh wow, like the years are starting to go by. Like, I'm not just going to be like this young kid forever. And also, like, in love and in dating, you realize that, like, oh wow, this isn't just like for fun anymore. Like, this really has an impact on people, and like, you really are, you have someone's heart in your hands, and it's like a delicate, beautiful thing. And like, realizing that, you know, having the maturity to recognize that, like, oh my God, I could hurt this person, like, that I love. And so that's some of what it's about.
Mm. And what would you say is the biggest difference between the All American Boy album and Not the End of Me?
Well, I mean, sonically, it's very different, because I was kind of like more like country rock on the first one, and then on the second album, like, I really incorporated, like, I was just making everything in my basement. I did most of the production all myself, and that was me really like leaning into just doing things how I wanted to do it. Because on my first record, like, I would fight with the producer a lot, and I would be like, you know, think like, oh, he doesn't get it. We need to do it more this way. But that album ended up being like, you know, a truly like collaborative effort. I wrote the songs, but in the studio when we were recording them, like, there were certain things I'd be like, I have to have that guitar part that we made on the demo. I need it. And he'd be like, that sounds like shit. I can't believe you like that. Fine, we'll do that. But we need to do this then. So it was very collaborative. And I think I took that for granted. And so I think on my last record that I made, I was like, well, I know I could just do this. Like, I'll make this even better. And I think that what I found is, like, you know what, actually, like, there is such a value to bringing in other people and having that, like, that collaborative effort, and not trying to do everything yourself. Like, I literally built a studio to record in. Like, I built like a sound booth to record in. I like really just did everything myself. I did a lot of the engineering, and it made me really appreciate that, like, you know what, I'm not going to be able to master all of these skills. Like, I should really stick to the songwriting, and then like the basic outline of the song, and then just let the magic of the random creative recording process do its magic.
But it's got to be a proud feeling too, to know you did it all yourself too.
Yeah. And I think that's how I've always kind of been, but like, I'm actually like less married to that now. Like, more so now, I'm like, because that is kind of like, that maybe comes from a selfish place. I'm starting to think a little more than maybe I thought before. It's like, you know, don't let anything get in the way of just creating something that's good, even if you have to like let the reins up on some things.
One of my favorites on the first album is "We Are the Night," and your beautiful moment to our trans brothers and sisters. Where did that come from for you? Because I do see, you are socially responsible and do use your social platform to speak out against things that matter like that. And I just think it just was such a beautiful moment to hear someone had that in a song.
Well, I think it's debatable whether I'm socially responsible, depending on who you ask.
But yeah, sometimes I do. I mean, I saw you, put up the Black Lives Matter thing. You do use your platform.
Yeah, I try to be like I try to be careful about not just like falling for trends, but like about actually trying to understand things, because I feel like we're just getting to this place that's really performative and empty and icky, and it's like I'm always struggling with, like, I don't want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of things that are like real, and I want to fight for change, like, that I like really believe in. I don't want to just do this performative thing. But anyways, yeah, I thought it was important because, like, at the time we were getting marriage equality and all these things, but I felt like this whole section of our community was kind of being like left out a little bit. And as we're celebrating, the advancement of gay and lesbian rights, like, let's make sure we help other people that have been disenfranchised, that have a lot to do with us having, the freedoms that we do today.
Mm-hmm. It's just a great, and the video is so fun too.
Thank you.
Yeah. In the second album, Don't Let the Light In, you use your childhood videos, letting us have a peek into Steve as a child. You talk about being an introvert, but looking at some of the video stuff, you look like you were, a performer from the early moments.
Yeah, I certainly was. And so I like the definition of an introvert that has to do with where you get your energy from. Whereas like introverts, they are able to recoup and like recharge by being alone. Extroverts like need to be with people to like get their charge. So I think like being around people, engaging with people, that takes energy for me, as opposed to like gives me energy. But I still do love it. And I think like this quarantine thing has taught me to really like be like, you know what, I've made the mistake of underestimating how important it is to be around people and to connect with people. That human connection, like it's not the same online. Like you need to be with people. You need to be able to like bounce ideas off each other and laugh and have spontaneous moments.
It is true. It does, especially now. I do love being around people, but I've enjoyed being home. But you start to miss that interaction now that we're forced to be in this position.
Yeah, there's something to be said for like the fact that people tend to congregate together, even if not every day. Like there's always a place, whether it's like church or community centers or at the bars. I mean, it's
and especially I think in the gay community, no matter what facet of the gay community, we've chosen that extended family that to some is more family than their own blood relatives.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a lot of friends that come from the, especially in like the 80s, like when AIDS was breaking out and just ravaging the community. I try to listen to those people and just like remember like this is where like gay rights came out of this, and like this fire of being like, hey, like this is not okay anymore, and we're going to stand with each other and we're going to stand up to this.
Mm-hmm. It's true. So do you still want to be an independent artist? Is it something that you having the control, is that something you still look to do?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to come sign me, I will. My soul is for sale. I just want health insurance.
You deserve that.
You're right. I just want to be able to retire one day. So yeah, I will. Hey, like I don't know that anyone wants me right now. But I would keep all options on the table. For a while, I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to keep doing this because I don't feel like I'm not able to write. Like this last year, I've been like, I can't write anything. I kept trying and trying and trying. And I think that may have been like the universe making me like bringing me back down and making me like appreciate that, like, no, Steve, you're not just like, it's not all you. It's not all like your brilliance. Like we've given this to you, and like inspiration is a thing to like respect and honor and cherish. And so like as I've like let my ego try to get more out of the way and have accepted that like the random chance of nature that like lightning, that creative lightning bolt strikes, like that's something I'm going to be grateful for, and not think like, oh yeah, I did this, I'm so smart, I was so clever to think of this. And now I'm like getting the flood of inspiration. Like I have a couple songs that I'm writing as we speak, and I'm like, when I'm running, I'm like singing things into my phone, and so I'm like so excited. So I hopefully like I have something out next summer.
That's awesome. You were also talking about a covers album. Are you still thinking of doing something like that?
Yeah, because I've been yeah, I am. And whenever I start doing that, though, I end up like starting to write music. But I have actually like accumulated a couple things that I've done for performances, but I've recorded them so well. I'm like, you know what? I think I should maybe like put this on like just an album and make it songs that I grew up with, songs that have spoken to me in songs that I feel like I bring something to the table by covering them in my own voice.
Do you have a favorite cover that you perform?
The first thing I think of is Dancing on My Own, that Robin song. I know it's like, old, it's like 10 years old, but I really enjoyed that. And a lot of people have covered it, but like I loved doing that one. And also George Michael's Freedom. I love that song. It's a very, I feel like it totally, I'm embarrassed to say, like, I didn't really know it until like 2 years ago. And it speaks to me on a lot of different levels, all the highs and lows. It's like dark, it's bright, it's exciting, it's festive. It's like, it just goes all over the place. I love it.
He's my 80s, him and, Madonna for me,
Yeah.
Who were some of your biggest musical influences?
Like I said, like going in high school, like the Blink-182s, My Chemical Romance. And then I got, really into like Lady Gaga when she was blowing up. I've always loved Taylor Swift as a songwriter because she's never had like that powerhouse voice, but like her songwriting, I feel like is so compelling, and she's like just writes such beautiful songs. And I always felt like I was not the best singer, but I wanted to be a storyteller and a songwriter, and I loved music. And so, she inspired me for that reason, that like, hey, like you don't need to be like a Whitney Houston vocalist. You can just have a really compelling story to share. And if you share it in such an eloquent way, like people will get behind that. And obviously now she's like she's been like the biggest star on the planet. And yeah.
I saw you it might've been the Gramercy Theater in New York, one of your first performances, and you did one of her tracks. I want to say Shake It Off, but it might've been,
probably Style.
I knew it was either that or Style. Yeah. It's Style. It's Style then. It was definitely Style.
Yeah. That's a great tune. That would probably be one to put on it all, because I feel like I have such a different doing it on piano, and I kind of make the like jazz chords out of a lot of things. And I think that could be like something cool and different.
I think it's great because I've downloaded, from YouTube some of the stuff that you've recorded.
I appreciate it.
What's the best part of performing live for you?
That you're forced to be in the moment, because it's not like you're not like doing something just to try to get it perfect and then tweak it later. And it's not like crafting like a social media post. You're just forced to be totally present. And the more present you are, the more compelling your performance is. Because if you're just trying to get to through a song, it's like, well, it's not a race. Like There's a reason why there's like a kind of a tempo, and it's like, performing isn't just trying to get through it fast. Like people are there because they want to like live in that moment, in that like, infinite now, as Eckhart Tolle would say, the power of now. I love that. Mm-hmm. I was actually I read it years ago, and I started listening to the audiobook yesterday. So it's kind of on my mind.
Huh. I need to read that. I've never read that, but I've heard great things.
Highly recommend it.
Yeah, I've heard that. So right now you'd probably be in what I probably consider your favorite and what my favorite place, Provincetown, right?
No, I'm in Chicago right now.
No, but you would normally.
Normally, yeah. Right, I realize I keep like getting my earbuds. Like they just don't want to stay in.
Yeah, mine either.
Yeah, I love P-Town. I'm missing it. I keep checking in because I still see some people going there. I was like, what's it like? And it just makes me sad that like I hope the places survive, like these like the theaters especially, that there's nothing else going on. So that's a real shame. Hopefully people come back out in droves next summer, and we can make up for it, and we got to support
it does seem like people are going, though. I agree with you. It scares me. I hope they're being safe at the same time.
Right.
But what for you is the magic of P-Town?
I mean, when you're there, everyone's on vacation, so everyone's like in a good mood, and I love anything that's by the ocean, and I just love like the quaintness of it, just like that you can't even drive on Commercial Street, just like taking down, my bike, and just like hearing people, like, I'm driving by and people will like shout at me, and then I'll be like, come to my show. It's just,
It really is. For people who haven't been, it's a magical place. I've been going over 20 years and I miss it. It's been a while.
When was the last time you were there?
Probably 2 summers ago.
Okay.
2 summers ago, I would say. I wanted to go last summer. We didn't make it, and we would have gone. I have friends who have a house there, so I've debated still trying to get up there. But
yeah,
it's a special place. And part of IARTA, how do both of those, long running gigs come about for you?
My booking agent, I saw that people were playing at those places, and I was like, Linda, I want to be playing places by the ocean where it's warm, and when it's cold and horrible in Chicago, I don't want to be there. So
that's perfect. I no other explanation needed. So if you don't mind, you're coming out. Is it true that you told some friends in 8th grade?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I kind of figured it out there.
It's crazy. What was the experience of coming out like for you?
Yeah, it didn't feel good. Like it felt scary. I felt, I was so taught to believe that it was like a moral failing, that like God looked down on it, that it just didn't feel good. Like it makes just, even like thinking about it now, how it felt, like I just felt like literally sick to my stomach, that like that something that was so like natural, and that obviously like as a young man, like all your hormones are going crazy and like pushing you in like this direction, that like all you could think about is like, sex and all these kind of things. But like, oh, actually, no, all that is like wrong and evil. And like, this is the devil making you do this, like that. On some level, like, because I was raised that way, I thought that way. And even though I was like still a pretty critical thinker, like that stuff still does like seep into you over time. And so yeah, it was really, really difficult. Like I really did feel like so guilty about it for years and years. And it really wasn't until I got to college that I was like, all right, because for a while I thought like I could change, and like, if I go talk to this Christian therapist, that like it'll go away, and maybe I could learn to like control it and just like repress it and just focus on other things. But by the time I was like 18, I was like, this is not the way to live. Like, what if I spend the next 20 years like trying to do this, and I end up just feeling guilty and crappy anyways? So I was like, that was one of the things that helped me be like, yeah, like this is just a part of who I am, and that's okay.
Correct. Yeah, I kept thinking about RuPaul's Drag Race, and where she always asks in the finale, what would you tell your younger self? What do you think you would tell an 8th grader named Steve Grand if he was talking about coming out?
Yeah. Oh man. God, it's so hard to say, because I was told so many different things, but I was like, even if someone like were to say to me like, hey, like you're just okay the way that you are, it's okay, it's fine, it's good, I would have been like, oh no, but that's like evil secular culture, like that's like brainwashing people to tell me that. And so I don't know, it's hard. You gotta kind of be patient with yourself. I would just say like, hey, have compassion to I would probably hear this the most, like have compassion for yourself, like just how we started this interview. And have compassion, have patience, like be good to yourself, and treat yourself like you would treat someone that you care about. I forget who says that, but I love that.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And pride, I mean, must have such a impact on you, because you've performed at so many prides kind of all over the world.
Yeah, I've done a lot of, especially when I was in Europe a couple years ago, and I think it was I'm gonna feel really bad if I get this wrong, because I don't want to just like make them sound like they're all the same. But I think it was, I remember when I was in Lithuania, I was like interviewed on TV, and I could tell the guy was like Lithuania is like very very, very Catholic and more conservative culture. And I remember I was interviewed by this guy on TV, and I felt like there was a translator, and I felt like he was like a little hostile, like, and I don't want to, like, he wasn't going to like hurt me or anything, but he asked like, oh, like, why do we need to know? Why does it need to be like talked about? That's kind of like once people are done being like outwardly homophobic, that's usually the next step. Like, well then, okay, well, we just don't want to hear about it. That's kind of the next thing.
Right.
I can't remember what I said, but I was actually really proud of how I handled that. And that was really something where I was like, this is genuinely a place where this message could be effective to people. And I just wanted to go on TV and be like, hey, like, I'm just like you. I just want love and acceptance, and maybe to have a family, and I just want to get along with people, and I'm just trying to make the best of what I got, just like you are.
Perfect. And you're performing Saturday, right, for St. John's Pride?
Yes, St. John's Pride, and I just got the if you guys are on my look at you in those, so impressive. I have to learn how to do that. Yeah, go there, guys. Or if you're on my social media, I have it posted, on all my things too. And so, yeah, you guys really check out this performance, because I spent more time on this. Like, I really, of course it's pre-recorded, guys, because, we're doing this now, and then it's going to live stream. But you could pretend it's live. And I have,
do you know what time? They'll check your social media.
I want to say, yeah, because I remember I asked this question because I didn't know when I posted about it. So, yeah, I'll update it so that people can see.
Do you have a favorite place you've traveled to for your work? Sydney, I know you've been on,
Yeah, Sydney. I want to go back there. That was cool.
That was a great performance.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I don't know if it wasn't like great singing performance because I couldn't hear myself, but like, and I was kind of like the most underwhelming thing about it, because they'd been like practicing like their thing for like a week, and they were all pro dancers, and I was like, I want to like dance, like show me some moves, and essentially it was like, hey, walk here, and then wait 18 counts, and then like fist bump. I wish I would have been able to get there earlier and like really work with them, because I've always wanted to like dance too, but like it's always just kind of like one of my last priorities, because I'm like, I just gotta like sing good and like play good and make it sound good.
But to go to Sydney for work isn't a bad thing.
No. Yeah, and that's another thing. Like I've been very lucky. It's easy to be like, oh, like look at all the things in your life and be like, I'm not this, I'm not there. Like, but no, I've been lucky to be able to travel around and see so many things. Like my parents had never left the country before they came to Puerto Vallarta, like last 2 years ago. So, and that's the case for most Americans.
What's it like having them in the audience now?
It's nice. It feels like it's always like there's always like a moment where I'd like try to call them out and just be like, wow, like we've come so far as a family, and like I'm glad that I was taught the power of family. I'm glad my parents really taught me to value family, because as I've gone out in the world, I see like, oh wow, like a lot of people don't even talk to their family. And sure, we complain about like having to get together all the time, and me and my brother are always like listen, like we see our extended family more than like anyone our age. So like you guys, we're like in our 30s and we're like still coming to all these things. Like we're doing good. But I'm glad that we were taught to value that. It's a beautiful thing. And with all we've been through as a family, and like I think me being gay, it threw such a wrench in it. But we've all come together, and like we've all grown and learned so much, like as human beings and as a family.
And that to me is the true definition of family, because you have, ups and downs, and, you stick together no matter what. It might have been difficult. It might have been a difficult moment. And, we all, no matter what, there's a lot of people going, cancer, being gay, whatever, all those things, but your family.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. And it should never change.
Yeah. And that was like the bedrock of it. And actually I had someone who, an older guy I was dating at the time, someone who's like, I consider also like a mentor. I remember saying like, getting your family to accept this. He's like, look, you need to like, at some point you need to just tell them like, listen, like this is who I am. It's not going to change. Like, I want to be in your life. I hope you want me in yours. And this is a part of my life. So like, but I can't be in your life if this is something that is going to like really, if we're going to keep like really butting heads on. And I swear, like in that moment, like that was when my mom was like, she got it. And like, that's the power of family. Like that value ultimately, kind of won out. And so I think,
that's where I think you being you and, sitting down and talking to me and saying these things out loud help other people. So
yeah, I hope so.
I really do. So let's talk about GrandAxis.
Woo!
How, you started with the underwear. Now you're going into swimwear. I also saw some very cool shorts I think you're going to do too.
Yeah,
right?
And I have what the shorts on right now. These are like, they're in gray. I don't even know if you could see. Oh, you can't really see, but these are the shorts.
Oh, I love those. When are those? So how do you, where'd the idea come from?
These are gonna be the swim shorts.
Oh, I love those.
And then there's gonna be briefs, of course.
Of course. That's Signature Steve.
Oh, exactly.
It should be called Signature Steve.
You know what? After all the work I did with like getting a trademark, I'm sure that's taken.
Oh, Signature.
Anything you can think of, and like, it's taken.
Yeah, that's funny. So, what prompted it for you?
Well, a couple things. I'd always I think I realized I was gay from like underwear catalogs, like as a kid. And so
International Male.
We didn't get that
catalog.
We didn't get that one, but like, I don't like the Sears catalog that would come once in a while or whatever, and there'd always be like something, and it was like so exciting. And so that's kind of how like the birth of like me, like, that was like, oh, my sexual enlightenment, I guess. And then I just always like was really like into underwear and swimwear, and like spent even when I didn't have money, like spent way too much money on it, and just like like probably have like collected like over like 1,000 pieces over the years. And I was always like trying to find something perfect. I was like, I want to find a perfect pair that I could just like, I'll just get a bunch of them and wear them all the time. Like ones that, because I'd always like be like getting dressed and I was like, what underwear do I want to wear today? Like no one's going to see it, but like, it was just always important to me for whatever reason. And I was like, I just want something that I don't have to think about, that I know it looks the best. And I never could really find something. So one thing led to another. I would start getting things like custom made, and even like, and then I'd be like, all right, wait, could you change this thing a little bit? And I'd be like, hey, and I would like draw like what I wanted different. And then I'd be like, actually, can I just see the pattern and I'll just draw like the change I want for, on it. And then one thing led to another. And I was like, you know what, I should really just like start my own brand, because I'm going so overboard with it. I'm spending like a lot of money on this. And I also don't feel like, I wanted to find a brand that I could work with, that I could promote, and where it would be like a mutually beneficial thing. Because I felt like I've always been really bad about monetizing my social media presence. I see people getting all these brand deals, and I'm like, why don't I want that? And so I would like be like, okay, well, maybe I should just reach out to some brands. So what brands would I like to work with? And there's a lot of great brands, but I was like always like wanting to find something perfect, and nothing quite fit. So I was like, I just need to make my own brand that I promote endlessly.
And what was the first step you did?
When I finally decided I was going to do it, I made a post on some like site, like I think it's called Glassdoor, where you could just like reach out and find people, like work on projects. And so, like I tried a couple different people and finally found one that like really seemed like she knew what she was doing. And she was able to, she had all these she was just to move from New York. And so she helped me with design, and then she'd be like, all right, and then this will be the process. And then we'll like start finding factories and then get like pricing. And so she like is that, like, those are her brains in there.
I saw on your Instagram, I mean, you were doing patterns the other day.
Yep. Yeah. And yeah, I'm now more hands-on than ever, which is getting kind of crazy. I need to like, again, like this is what I did on like my last record when I was getting too involved. And I know that that's a mistake sometimes. You gotta, as like a business person, as like a creative person, it's so important to like learn where you just need to delegate. And that's something I've been not very good at that I'm really trying to work on.
What's the favorite thing you've created so far?
I love, we even give a visual here. I love the brief. The brief is my favorite thing so far. Well, and the swimwear hasn't come out yet, but yeah.
I have those in boxer and brief.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, I hope you love them. But yeah, I wear these like this is the underwear that I wear every day, and so it gives me a good idea because I really wear them, so I know like what it's like, and I'm obviously like wearing a bunch of different pairs, so I could kind of see like, oh wait, I need to work and change this part, or like make sure we address this next time. So it's been hopefully they'll just keep getting better.
That's awesome. And now that the factories are open, right? Things are being made.
Yes, it's been a really slow, long process. I wanted to have swimwear in April, which probably that was a little ambitious, but now it's looking like late August. I'll actually have it. They actually made a couple of the first styles that I had. Like I'm doing like I don't know if we ended up in this color. This is just like a sample, but there's like a square cut. So we have those being made, and then the gym shorts that I showed before, those were made as well. And then the smaller suits are hopefully going to start being made like next week.
That's awesome. So
it's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're making things happen for yourself. It's got to be as Brian, we do. Brian, who says he loves them. What are you most proud of? Not necessarily GrandAxis. What are you most proud of?
Oh, in my life?
Mm-hmm.
I guess like the part of myself that kind of just has always wanted to go my own way, and like being a little more of contrarian, like everything from like my career path and just being like, I know this is what everyone else is doing, but I was okay with not being comfortable. And I challenged myself to like not just always feel comfortable with everything, and to take chances and just be like, I remember like auditioning freshman year in high school for this role that was like I knew I probably wasn't going to get, but I was like, I really want to just make it hard for them not to pick an upperclassman. And I didn't get the part, but like, I remember like I went home, we had one day to learn the song, and I memorized it. I like figured out what like kind of choreography I was going to do, which, was not expected. They just kind of wanted to hear your voice and see like your presence. So I did it. And it was a song with another girl. And like they would start like matching up us with different girls, and I would like tell the girls, I would be like, all right, we just got to like let's just really go for it. Let's really sell it. And so we just would blow them away, because like the upperclassmen could barely they didn't even like know the lines, and I came in there like after like having the script for like 24 hours and just like would nail it. So I think.
Did you say what show it was?
This was for, it was my sophomore year. This was for Anything Goes. Or no, that was my freshman year. Filler on the Roof, I think. God, I can't remember now the show. I did one of those. I can't remember the part like that I even auditioned for. It was a long time ago.
A long time ago. So what does Steve Grand do for fun?
I watch a lot of, listen to and watch like a lot of podcasts and YouTube and things like that. Like I like to learn. I like get down these rabbit holes. Like I get really into this kind of, in archaeology, we have this idea that, sophisticated human civilization like only goes back 5,000-6,000 years, and like the pyramids of Egypt were built around then. But there's this kind of there's all this emerging evidence that human civilization goes back like pre-Ice Age, and like there was a cataclysmic event that happened that really wiped out like most of everything on the planet, and we're finding more and more of this in the fossil records. And like long story short, like I think human civilization had a real reset like over between like 12,000 years ago, and we could have been a lot more sophisticated than we thought we were. Like when we find like these, the way that they created these stones and like fit them all together and all these like sites around the world, there's all these like similarities. So it looks like they're a global civilization. Maybe they were like really actually traveling around. They seem to like know a lot about the solar system, like 10,000 years before like we learned about it. So I don't know. I get into random stuff like that, and then just garbage like YouTube drama channels. I shamelessly will sometimes watch, but I'm trying to stick away from that. I've been really into,
what is that?
Comedian.
What is that? What
like YouTube drama channels?
Yeah.
Just like what all like the young people are like, you know, I don't know if you know these like people like Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson. There's all this like controversy around them, and the internet's trying to cancel them, and they did blackface or something when they were like in 2011, and you know, like, and then like their people are trying to get their brands like their brands to like drop them, and it's like a mess. But it's just, and it's indecent for me to even like be a spectator. But you know, it's like we all have our like garbage entertainment.
That your guilty pleasure.
Yeah, but I try to stay away from that, and I have this week, so I'm proud of that.
Anything on television that's a guilty pleasure for you, or you're pretty much?
I've never been a television guy. We didn't have it growing up. Like we didn't have cable, and nothing was on non-cable.
Wow.
And our parents really didn't like us watching TV or like video games or anything. So we were like, we played outside and we like built things, which I think is really great. Yeah, so I don't even like know I don't understand TVs, like how you find stuff.
It's a lot to choose from these days, for sure.
How do I see it on YouTube?
Well, yeah, you can find a lot of it there. I know you said earlier, you know, you went out for a run yesterday. What have you been able to do, you know, stuck at home? Because I know you love the gym. Have you been able to find a fitness routine? I
tried to, and I like essentially failed. And I was like, I just need to let the gyms open back up. It's too much about the routine for me. I need to get out of the house and do it. And so thankfully, just like 2 or 3 weeks ago, our gyms opened, and still got to wear a mask and all that. But I'm so grateful to be back. I do it for vanity, of course. I mean, who works out for their, you know,
for fun, for fun.
Yeah, for your health. What is that? But I didn't realize like how much not only a physical benefit it was, but like mentally. And I'm so much more focused now. Like I feel like my anxiety has gone down. I'm in a better mood overall, so it's good. My
husband's that way about needing it for the stress relief, like you just said, for the anxiety. Let it run its course in a workout.
So important. Yeah,
it really is. What does Steve Grand look for in a mate?
You know, honesty, trustworthiness, sincerity, and confidence. I would say those are probably like the main things. I'm not really like looking right now. I do sometimes miss that. I was like, oh, it would be so nice to like have someone right now. You know, like if I'm ever at like a nice, like when I was running by the lake, I was like, oh, just like someone to sit here with. But it's just that's not where I'm at on my journey right now.
The journey will find you, my friend.
Yeah, it always does.
It does. Well, I think that's the perfect place to end. I thank you. And I'm going to leave this up for people so they can find it, check out Steve's clothing line here.
Do it.
And stevegrand.com for all his music stuff. And don't forget Saturday Pride St. John's, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And you'll post that as well.
It'll be on my social media. So yeah, like on Instagram and Twitter, my handle is @SteveGrandMusic. If you're a Facebook person, just search Steve Grand and it'll come up with the blue check mark. But make sure they have the blue check mark, except I'm not verified on Twitter for some reason.
Yeah, I see you have to do that all the time. That must really suck that so many people make fake accounts.
Yeah, it's just it's a way that they found that they could like scam by like really like, you know, low level, you know, or like low celebrity influencer people, that it could be believable enough that they would like make a fake account to talk to people and ask for money. And so that's what they do. And once in a while I get a message from someone who like fall for it, and it just breaks my heart. So please don't fall for it, guys. Don't believe like if it's too good to be true, it is.
It really sucks that people take advantage of other people that way.
Yeah. I mean, there's always going to be a % of the population that If they weren't doing that, it would be pickpocketing or whatever. But we can't go outside now, so they gotta make fake accounts.
Totally sucks. Don't go anywhere. I'm gonna sign off, and we'll say goodbye. Thank you so much for spending this hour with me.
Thank you so much, Alan, and thank you to everyone that watched, and thank you guys so much for
everybody says great from London. So I'm going to leave this up as we sign off, but Steve, stay there for 1 sec.
Okay.
Bye, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in.